Welcome to the Cincy PostCast. I'm Kevin Willis, and before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our great friends over at Streetside Brewery, the best daggone brewery in Cincinnati. Look, they are doing fantastic work over there, and I couldn't be more excited. Look, Streetside, they're doing great stuff over there on the east side of Cincinnati, Columbia, Tusculum area. It is a really cool spot. You got to go check it out. If you have not been for, especially an away game, great place to go. Looking for a place to grab a drink before you head downtown and go to an FC Cincinnati game? That works well. Okay. It is super, super convenient to get in and out of. It's a great spot, super friendly staff, delicious beer you can pick up just about anywhere. It's a great time. So a huge, huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this and so many other episodes of the Cincy Postcast. And on today's episode, well, we get to talk about a win 2-0 over Atlanta United to start the MLS season off right. We could not be happier. You couldn't be happier. Everybody's happy. I guess except for the folks in Atlanta, but whatever. Don't need them. Look, this was an awesome result. Evander gets injured. We talk about that. The Dado Valenzuela era off to a 2-0 victory. Many people are saying, mainly me. And what does it mean going forward with this team? How long is he out? There's also a little thing out there called the PostCast bump. Was it in effect on Saturday night? It was. We explain how, we explain why, and then in part two, we look at some of the programming notes around the stadium, around the pregame environment, and then we quickly look ahead to O&M on Wednesday, put it all together. You got a victory Cincy Postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, joined by the one and only Chief. Grayson is on an airplane somewhere over the great flyover country. But Chief, how are you doing this evening?
Doing phenomenal. The only thing you can ask for as a soccer fan or a sports fan in general is you can't go undefeated until you win game one. And so I'm sitting here as a fan of the FC with a undefeated season currently going. And then on top of that, we're gold medalists in hockey in this country, men's and women's hockey. This is a hockey country. As a hockey fan, this brings me no shortage of joy. And it's just a great Sunday all around. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with you. Happy to be talking about all this. Let's roll. I love it.
Chief, I know we are a soccer podcast.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Watching the gold medal game at 8 a.m. this morning, I thought that maybe I hadn't fully woken up yet and had somehow accidentally had the game on fast forward. It was the most blistering pace I have ever seen a hockey game. Obviously hockey is a great sport. The higher the level you go, the more intense it gets. Then obviously playoff hockey reaches another level. Stanley Cup hockey, when you're in the final. Game 7 is something else. I think I saw another level this morning.
Oh yeah. No, Olympic hockey, Canada versus the United States. If you watched the Four Nations tournament they did last year, it was played at a similar level and a similar speed. What I love about hockey is that when you play hockey players have two speeds, and that's fast and faster. There's no you watch an NBA game and you can tell guys are dogging it in a regular season game. There's guys on load management and all that. There ain't none of that in hockey. Everyone's going breakneck every single game. It is. I know this is sacrilegious to say this on a soccer podcast because I love soccer and I love the FC. I love going to FC games. pound for pound, there is not a better there's not a better dollar you'll spend than the dollar you put towards an NHL ticket. It is the best in-person sports product in the United States right now. Now, if we had Premier League level soccer in this country, maybe that would be different. But the NHL, I said this on X, the Everything app, it's all happening on X today. If you have never been to an NHL game, I am imploring you at some point in your life, make your way up to Columbus. If you don't want to go to Columbus, because we all know how we feel there.
Fair enough.
Go to Detroit. Detroit's awesome. Like, if you haven't been to Detroit, Detroit's a great hang, great city, super, super underrated. Go see a Red Wings game up in Detroit, or go to Chicago and see a Blackhawks game. You can go to Pittsburgh and see a Pens game, even if you just boo them while you're there. Like, go somewhere, go see an NHL game as a neutral. You will have just the best time, and you will be stunned at how good the athletes are that play that sport.
Yeah. Oh, God. But Chief, we are back.
We're
the
back.
home opener, the season opener for MLS. Yes, there was the Champions League game earlier. I don't want to not acknowledge it, but this was it. And my God, this was a ton of fun. The night ended with just sort of the dream scenario in a lot of respects, not every respect, but
Right.
Chief, pre-game, what were the vibes like? What were you picking up around town?
Vibes were good. The vibe that I get with FC Cincinnati is it felt like a lot of people were happy to be home.
Yeah.
We're happy to be back. It's good to be back in the routine. You meet up and see a lot of the same people in the pre-games and in the festivities, and even among, my friends that I go and that are FC Cincinnati season ticket holders, my sister, former coworkers, friends I've made through the process of whatever it is that we do with this, members of the 12. It was good seeing people again. And it was the vibe I got was that everybody was ready for this to spin back up and ready to stop talking about what this team looks like or what this team is, and ready to start, let's see it. Let's have something real to talk about versus the 15th iteration of, does it make sense that Miles Robinson is a designated player? So that was how I found myself. I was excited. I was ready to roll. And there is an aspect of this that's kind of like putting on an old, comfy shirt.
Yeah.
Where you're back down and over the Rhine. You're back up at, your bar of choice. I was, back at Northern Row, and there's a certain flow and a vibe and just this is what we do. This is how we do things here.
Oh, it was so nice being back. I was talking with somebody at Northern Row about, we were now officially well past the mark. We passed it sometime last year. I've been meaning to go and track down when this date was going to happen. I think we're well past it now. We have more games now at TQL Stadium than we have had at Nippert. So we have officially passed that line. I know.
Yeah.
Because you had the 16, 17, 18 in USL, 19 in MLS, and then
20 doesn't count because we were in Nippert, but nobody was there.
And then, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 versus the 4 years in Nippert.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
So I think, So that happened. And this is my annoyance with math, the 10th time that I got to go to a home opener. So for me, it's my 10-year anniversary of celebrating this team.
But not the 10th year of the team, but it's the 10th year of my involvement as being a fan of this team.
I'm sorry. I didn't write the contract when the team legally existed in 2015. I wasn't there in that room. This team started in 2016 for me.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to celebrate a business document. I'm celebrating the first time I showed up when we were on the cover of the Cincinnati Enquirer. It was, back when the Enquirer covered things.
And it was a blast. It was the first home opener I was able to take my daughter to, which was a lot of fun. And we had a great time at Northern Row beforehand. Got to say hi to a couple of the 12s there. And yeah, it was just like a generally like super positive. And yeah, I think everybody was just excited to like, last year, whether you thought it was a successful season, a failure, however you felt, it's gone now. We can just sort of extinguish those arguments, those conversations. We now have new evidence, new players, new storylines. The new season of our favorite TV show just kicked off. Let's see what happens. We don't have to break down the old episodes frame by frame. We got fresh new storylines to tear apart.
It's great. And walking into the stadium, got a rally towel. It's like, let's do this right here.
Finally. I did get the question when I got back home from my wife, what is this? And I honestly don't know what the answer is.
There are some people that love the rally towel, and there are people that do all sorts of creative things with the rally towel. I am not crafty. I am not creative. I'm kind of an idiot, which, shocker to anyone that's listening to this, I'm sure. They migrate to various places in my house before they inevitably get like thrown away.
Yeah.
Or I start using them to clean messes up. And then it's like, oh, I've ruined the rally towel now because it's all covered in some sort of a sauce or something from the kitchen.
Right. That's exactly it. It's like, okay, so it's not quite a washcloth. It's not going to be good as a rag, although you could use it in a pinch. But yeah, it's not quite like decoration. Like you're not really going to hang this up by itself. I think it would look weird. And if people have done this in a good way, that's great. I can't imagine a version where you would like frame it and it looks good. Like I'd rather
some people get like, if you're into the autograph thing, like I've seen people get players to autograph them just because they're about the right size that you could get all the player autographs that you care about on the rally towel. I'm not an autograph guy.
Yeah.
If people give me autographed things, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like I'll display that. My old man got me a signed jersey from Dexter Jackson, who won Super Bowl MVP when the Buccaneers won their first Super Bowl like 20 years ago. DB won Super Bowl MVP for having 2 interception returns for a touchdown, and then promptly never did anything else for the rest of his career. just a great bit of bar trivia, and now I have his jersey signed in my office. But like, I'm not going to go out of my way to go try and get players to sign things or to get through the signature thing. So if you're into that, maybe the rally towel is more your thing.
Yeah, and I think getting a jersey signed is kind of a risky proposition because I don't think, and I see plenty of people do this. I don't think you should. I don't think you could wear it out as like your match day jersey if you want to preserve the signature, which is probably why you got it signed in the first place. But if you don't really care, you just thought it was funny that like you ran into Jimmy McLaughlin, you had him sign a jersey. Like then
you'd have to be like wearing the jersey when you met him, or you'd have to bring the jersey to some sort of an event where like he would be signing it. Yeah. Plus, like the other problem with the signed jersey concept is like, again, I love that someone gave me that, but I bought the new Seven Hills kit. Big fan, actually. But I'm not eager to spend $170 for something that gets autographed. Like that's a big investment into an autographed canvas, unless I really like the player and want to make it like a real showpiece item.
Right. See, that's where I'd be like, okay, let's say the team goes on, wins a trophy, and you want to commemorate that season with that jersey. Great, sign it. But then again, like, I'm not wearing that out. I am like getting it framed or whatever. Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, I think all of that to say, I think the towelette, the kitlet is perfect for the hybrid signed kit thing there. It's a good material where it's not like fully cotton. So I think it works well.
If you could have a signed FC Cincinnati jersey from any player in the history of FC Cincinnati, who would you want it to be?
Andy Craven.
What a pull.
I was trying to think of the most obscure player.
Andy Craven is certainly a guy. We traded him for Deco Cannon. Am I right about that or no?
Think goal scorer.
Danny
Koenig.
I was close on that one. All right.
You were.
Yeah.
We traded him for
to Oklahoma City, right? Or like Tulsa. Right.
Yeah. Somewhere out
the
there.
Roughnecks. Yeah.
And brought him in. So this was after he jumps up in the air. Still one of the funniest things ever. The announcers in the game were saying, "Oh, very smart to sub in Andy Craven here. Veteran will calm things down." If the game was getting a little
red card.
Yeah, immediately jumps up, intentionally targets a dude with his elbow. Damn near breaks the dude's nose. He's bleeding everywhere. Craven, immediate red card, and was traded the next day for Danny Koenig, who would go on to sit atop the FCC all-time goal scorer list for a very long time.
Yeah. Danny Koenig's a good shout. That might be the jersey that you want to have, like the signed one.
That would be a good one. Yeah.
Shauna Coley, not a terrible shout either.
Ooh, yeah. First MVP.
Mitch
would be good.
But then you have to have the goalkeeper kit, and that's not as much fun to get signed, I don't think.
Did they have the all black goalkeeper kit, though, was pretty cool.
Yeah. I do have one of those because a friend of the PostCast, Andrew Pranovic, bought one that was too big. He was like, here.
You take it.
You're enormous. You take this.
Who's the biggest guy I know?
Who's the biggest guy I know?
Chief, I do have some unfortunate news for you, though.
Oh, no.
I got a review of the podcast in the pregame. So this is great. Get to run into lots of the 12s out there throughout the day. Found out. So as a new season ticket holder, I sit next to somebody who listens to the show. So
oh no.
That was really funny.
I think that person is required because he's probably going to hear takes during the course of the game from you. I think he's required to become a Patreon member because he's getting a lot of extra content from you for free sitting next to you.
So I told him, I was like, hey man, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil the show every time I yell something. And he said, to his credit, no, this is great. Now we don't have to listen anymore.
Oh, good. So the goal of the PostCast is to stop listening to the PostCast.
Right. That's when you win. Back in Eve Online, which is still going, but in its heyday, you referred to winning Eve is when you quit the game.
Yeah. When you stop playing Eve is when the day you win the game.
That's how you win. No, but I was sent this. I met this individual, but had been sent a screenshot of this person's review of the PostCast in the pregame, and it was great meeting them. It was very funny. He was very, very lovely. But he said this, quote, "I have to admit, PostCast pisses me off more often than not. Not my cup of tea. But that has more to do with Chief and the other guy who, period, stops, period, when, period, he, period, talks, period. I really hope I'm not trash talking a good friend. I'm sure he's a great guy, but that verbal tick sends me over the edge. But Kevin is much better than those two."
First off, how dare you?
Did I only read this because of that last line? It's very possible.
Yeah.
I did have to tell him, though.
It's probably bad business to tell a listener to fuck off, but
it is the first review I have ever seen or been given where somebody said that they liked my takes more than you guys. So I'm taking this as a win.
Yeah, what I'm learning here is that I'm making the show unlistenable by my continued presence.
No,
I already knew that. I didn't need a review to tell me that.
So that was great. Chief, how the lineup comes out.
Yes.
And I will read through the lineup here actually while we're thinking about this. But when you saw this lineup, Did it surprise you what we ended up getting versus what we saw at the midweek?
No, if you would have asked me, since the signing of Brian Ramirez, who was really like the last piece put in place, if you would have asked me, what do I expect the starting lineup for this team is going to look like? This is the answer I would have given you. I think that the only real questions that we had about all this was, number one, what is the health situation of Matt Miazga? And we've learned not a lot about that other than in the pre-match press conference, Pat Noonan said that he's coming along and they want to get 3 or 4 days of training with him before they move him back into game shape, which to me would seem to indicate that there's a possibility we see him at least on the bench, maybe for the midweek game.
Maybe
it's at home. Don't know. But so that was sort of up in the air. And then the question I thought that was kind of interesting was, where does the depth chart lie between Obi and Giddey?
Yeah.
And I think that at this point, I would have been leaning prior to this that Giddey won the starting job at the end of last year, with Obi being a depth piece who will get a lot of minutes, I think, this year, but Obi being the clear-cut starter. And I think it was always Jabari as the starter. It was just a question of, how much run do you want to give him, especially, and not the least of which, because if you don't know, is he's a practicing Muslim that is celebrating Ramadan right now, which if you are not familiar, and by some of the comments I saw online, there are a lot of people who are not familiar. Ramadan is not your father's type of fasting that you would experience, like if you have experienced the concept as a Christian. From sun up to sundown, it's no food, and more importantly for an athlete, no water.
Nothing. Or minimal water, as much as you're able to abstain from. Yeah. And
so, that's probably not the guy you want to be giving a ton of minutes to in the Dominican and then a ton more minutes on a Saturday. But it seemed to me that Jabari was going to be the starters since, for months. That seemed to be the case. So I really didn't see a lot in this lineup that was surprising to me. Maybe, I don't know. Do you think any different?
No, my only thought was that potentially with Barlow getting the start in the Dominican, that he was the first choice, and that he was, they were potentially just trying to get more reps in with them. But no, that was not the case. I thought it was a long shot for that being the case, but the fact that he started the first game was, an interesting note. But that lineup for FC Cincinnati ended up being Roman Celentano in goal, Teenage Hadebi, Miles Robinson, and Nick Hagland as your backline. Ramirez as your left wing back, Echenike as your right wing back, Samuel Giddey and Pavel Buka as your defensive midfielders, with Evander for a little bit in front of them, Jabari and Denke up top. Yeah, I think other than the question of where Matt Miazga sits on the depth chart when fully healthy, this is probably the best possible lineup that this team can run out. And for the first time in a long time, it feels like we're deep everywhere. Probably the exception of striker, but like
wing back might be a little bit of a question. I think not so much that they don't have depth, but I think the fall off from Ender and Ramirez is pretty stark. Whereas, you do feel comfortable about the midfield depth. If Miazga's healthy, you feel very comfortable with the center back depth. Goalkeeper depth is going to be very good, but I do worry a little bit about the wingback depth.
Yeah, you wonder where, like, given how solid we are at midfield, if somebody like Buka isn't actually kind of a little higher on like the right back wingback depth than we might imagine. Alvis Powell is always going to be an option there. Kyle Smith is all throughout his career has played both left and right, outside back and everywhere on the back line. So he might be the second choice for every defender. Not unlike, and we described him this way during the preseason, but like kind of how Yuya Kubo has been for this team in the past is kind of how Kyle Smith, I imagine he is for this team on defense. Like every defender, he's the second choice guy there. But yeah, like the Giddey Buka midfield made sense. You saw the game plan with Jabari. But what stood out to me immediately in this game and continued to stand out is Brian Ramirez appears to be, very early returns. Seems to be exactly what this team was missing at left wing back last year.
Yeah, I agree. And that's sort of my big picture takeaway from this game is if Pat Noonan, and by all accounts, it seems like this is what he wants to do. If Pat Noonan wants to continue running this 3 at the back setup with wing backs, this is what this team needs. And when you think about where the FC has been at its apex, it was probably during the year when they had Barriel down one wing and they had Santiarius down the other wing. Yep. And what that allowed was it allowed both sides of the field to be equally dangerous going forward. There was always a preference to play down Barriel's side just because he was so talented. But it also, you couldn't overload that side because Arias was always a threat on the switch of play. And what we saw last night repeatedly was they wanted to play down Ramirez's side. They wanted to play down that left-hand side. They were very effective at doing it. Ramirez is very good with on the ball, which I was not prepared for. Yeah. Off the ball, he was very good with his movement. His passing vision was very good. And what they were able to do, though, and you saw it multiple times, was they were able to quickly switch the point of play back over to the right-hand side to get Ender into space. Ramirez had at least one full field switch where it was like, I haven't seen that from this team in a really long time, as opposed to having to go 3 passes around to the right side. We can just switch the entire field of play and get the defense out of shape. But that is the benefit to when you have threat and the ability to push forward on both wing backs, as opposed to when we had Yedlin, where he stayed further back. When Engel played wing back, he was way more conservative staying back. And when Luka was playing wing back last year, he wanted to dribble and cut inside instead of staying wide and keeping width. And so when you do that, it bunches things up. You lose your spacing, you lose your passing lanes, you allow the defense to compress. I was blown away by, and what I was most happy about was how good Ramirez looked and how much of an absolute problem Ender Echenique is with a full offseason of training under his belt in this offense. It was so cool to see the passing charts that come out after the game, and it looked like 2023, where it was, very heavy going up that left side to Ramirez. And yet when they, we're showing some of the stats from Apple on which flank the attacks, like promising attacks were coming down, it was nearly split left and right, which was exactly what we're talking about here with the ability to cross the field and both guys being threats. It also means, like last year, Yedlin and Engel were fine at what they were doing defensively, but I think in addition to them being just more conservative and not always pushing up, is that when they did, they just weren't that good at it. Yeah. Like Yedlin was not an offensive threat. RSL is deploying him as a center back right now. Like they are not expecting him to play any offense right now. And I think having competency on the attack from those wide areas is also a huge, huge benefit to what this team wants to do. It pins back the opposing team, and it makes the midfield's job much easier to break up attacks because they don't need to push forward. They don't need to necessarily be a part of that attack. They can obviously join when and where it makes sense, but like by having those guys up there, all of a sudden you have 2 strikers, 2 wing backs, and your attacking midfielder, all a part of the attack. That's enough. I think you've got 5 guys sitting back waiting to break up the attacks. Amazing. Like when it works great. The only thing now
I'm trying to sort out is how bad is Atlanta? Because I want to draw some big conclusions here.
That's the $1 million question. With having width and having threat from the wingback position, what it does, and allowing these kind of quick switches of play to different sides of the field, the center backs don't have to push as far forward.
Yeah.
And so you're not getting those situations where the center backs are keying the attack by the old horseshoe of doom. We can bypass that and go through the midfield from one side of the field to the other side of the field to another wing back that is pushing forward and drawing a defender out wide to cover them. It's opening more room in the middle, and you don't need to have that switch of play coming so far back with your center backs having to push up the field into the attack, which leaves them less susceptible to being beat on the counter or the over the top ball, which was sort of a problem last year. Atlanta tried it a couple of times. There just wasn't room to complete that pass or room to complete that play, and all the center backs were able to recover on it.
Yeah.
I love it. And yeah, I do want to know how good Atlanta is, because to the untrained eye, they seemed fine.
Yeah.
But the back line was not bothered 99% of the time in this game. I think the closest they came to getting bothered was a goal line clearance by Miles Robinson, and I'm 99% certain the flag was up on that anyway, and it wouldn't have counted.
It was.
So it's like, yeah, great play by Miles, but yeah, the most threatening moment was an offside.
Yeah.
So yeah, they kept Latte Loth completely in check. Lobzanice had nothing. There was no opportunity for him to do anything creative. They got a couple of early shots as the game was settling in, but nothing that super troubled Roman that seemed to be difficult for him.
It was the 5th minute. Roman has a great save. I don't know how threatening it was, but yeah, it was like the 5th minute. And other than that goal line clearance, was probably the other best chance that they had all game. Right. So, and
it's reflected in the XG. The XG, here's a shock that one game into the whole new hashtag refresh on focusing more on good goal scoring opportunities. What do we see? The FC dominated the XG battle in this game. I think Atlanta had something close to a 0.4. FC had over a 2.
Yeah.
Been a long time since we've decisively won an XG battle and won the score line by a similar margin. It was a all around really, really good team effort that I assume we will view differently based on how Atlanta goes from here. But I'm not going to play that game right now because it's the first week of the season for everybody. And these are teams that FC Cincinnati struggled against last year. Famously, they're not Supporters Shield reigning champions right now because they couldn't beat bad teams when they needed to, and they couldn't win comfortably against bad teams when they needed to. Yeah. So even if Atlanta sucks, it's still a good sign that they went and they took care of business against them.
Yeah. And specifically Atlanta from last year. Those were incredibly winnable games that were not won. Chief, on the XG front, I don't know if you have a shot map up in front of you, but if
the box, no outside the box shots.
Yeah. Now, part of that is because of the man we'll talk about next, but also, the lack of Orishano, but it's also they're not getting frustrated. They know that they're going to be generating chances. This is something that Matt Doyle talked about last year, is the team does seem to get frustrated late in games and just rip shots from far away because they realize that's probably about as close as they're going to get to goal, and that wasn't the case. There's plenty of on target shots in this map too. But
it all feeds into one another. When you are not getting effective wing back play in this offense, when you're not generating width, the box gets crowded. And when that happens, when the middle of the field gets crowded, then it gets a lot harder to find those passing lanes that get good quality shots closer to goal. And not only that too, if a wingback system is functioning the way it's supposed to, which I think Pat wants to play with, when you're not forced to invert your wingbacks and make them more we're going to cut in off the dribble, then what your wingbacks are able to do, and what Ramirez seems to have some aptitude for, is you're crossing from the outside. And if those crosses are going into the box, you're going to increase the likelihood of it falling to a foot where you can get a goal scoring opportunity closer to goal or a headed chance closer to goal. And we saw early in this game, there was almost an opportunity to score off a headed ball from Nick Hagglund. And so if you are maintaining that width and you're whipping crosses into the box, you're going to get better goal scoring opportunities than necessarily you will with someone like a Luca Orishano cutting in. And then the best option he's probably going to have is ripping something from 20, 30 yards out.
Yeah. Yeah. Echenike as well. None of his crosses stand out to me, but he had plenty of opportunities where he, got in behind his defender out wide, raced to the end line and cut the ball back in. He had a great moment with Dotto in the first half where Dotto actually was sort of like juggling the ball around defenders. That last pass didn't quite come off, but that all comes off of Echenike beating his man and getting a pass into the box and creating a dangerous opportunity, which was awesome. Now, what was less awesome is the reason why Dotto was on the end of that pass and not Evander, because in the 13th minute, Evander, very similarly, is racing towards the end line. It's a very exciting opportunity. This happens right in front of me. Again, I got season tickets, Chief, so I got to bring this up whenever I can. But
sick brag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got my own seats after being a fan of this team and season ticket holder originally back in 2015.
Right. It will always bring me joy that when we had Birding on the podcast during the 10th anniversary match over the summer, like when you said you're not a season ticket holder, he looked at you and said, Kevin, people. You could have fixed this at any time with a phone call.
Hey, let it be known. I've never pulled the "Don't you know who I am" move ever.
Yeah.
But Evander gets his pocket picked on this play, and I thought, my God, Evander, that was terrible. What are you doing? And he immediately falls down, and I said, oh my God, they tore his ego. Like this is the problem. Like it was such a bad giveaway. He's got to go fake an injury. Yeah. And then he kept laying there and he kept laying there and he kept, and I was like, oh no, I think he's actually hurt. And son of a gun, walks off on his own, unassisted. So you like to see those things. After the game, Noonan said it was hamstring tightness and the early preliminary tests look good, but the MRI is Monday. But then Chief, he posts on Instagram, he's looking forward to his recovery.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the full quote here.
Yeah,
it's from his Instagram feed. It says, "This wasn't the way I wanted to start the season, but I'm very happy to see all the support from the fans in the stadium and proud of my teammates who did a great job and secured our first 3 points of the season. Now it's time to focus on recovery and come back even stronger. Don't worry, this has only made me even hungrier." So everybody has fixated on the word recovery as not a great sign. That's not the worrying line there. The worrying line there is come back even stronger.
Yeah.
Like coming back from what? Man.
Right. And coming back implies leaving, right? So if he's not coming back on Wednesday, that's not coming back. Everybody's coming back on Wednesday. He's coming back in March, in June, in August, 2027. Yeah, like what does come back mean there? So, oh God, it's tough. It's gonna be tough.
I was not happy with this injury. I was yelling for him to get up and stop milking it because, like you, I was very much come on, man. Like, we get it. You had another one of those oopsie moments in the first game. You can, and then when you go over to the sideline and you see somebody start to jog. Yeah, it's like it's real early to be doing the jog thing if there's not a concern that this is a actual capital I injury. Yeah. So it's a bummer. It's a real bummer because I'm not to start a discourse or not to start a discussion, but it's tough when you have built your lineup and you have made roster choices where instead of investing all three of your designated player spots into goal scorers and offensive players, you've made the choice to only invest two of those spots into goal scorers and offensive players. Now you're down to one if he has to miss any sort of significant time. And we don't know. Like, we'll probably learn more in the next couple of days as to how bad this is. But if he's going to be gone for any period of time, I'll put it this way. Wouldn't you love to have a Christian Espinoza as a designated player who would be another person who can step up and provide some scoring threat for this team in Evander's absence? But we've made the choice, and it is what it is at this point, that we've invested that designated player spot on the back end of the team. And we don't have that extra player that a lot of other teams would have in this sort of a situation who can step up and cover in the absence of a superstar player like Evander.
Yeah. And it's not even like we're in a situation where in 2023, once again, where Brandon Vasquez was playing at the level of a designated player, but wasn't. If you had Jabari, good for, a solid 15, 16 goals this year, I think you feel a little different about this. Now, obviously, you would probably take those expectations down a little bit with no Evander out there, but yeah, like that, it's Kevin Denke and the wingbacks as your hope for where this is all going to come from. Not to say Jabari can't be good or can't come good or score 15, 16 goals. I just don't think you would bet money on that right now.
It wasn't what you were expecting to happen. And injuries often force the unexpected. And for all we know, this is a 2-3 week thing and he'll be back, in short order. But if this is going to be something where there is a comeback involved, I do wonder if there's going to be some buyer's remorse in terms of how the roster was set up. So I don't know. We'll have to see. The team theoretically has some flexibility if they do need to bring someone in. You're hoping that it's not a situation where it's an SEI designation, and that's like way premature to start talking about that. But that would put them in a situation very similar to what LA Galaxy are going through right now with Ricky Puig. Yeah, and they managed to find João Klaus on an expiring contract in order to fill that spot. That's hard to do. That's a white elephant type situation of being able to find that. There's potential they could move one of their U22s onto the main roster or into the senior roster to open a U22 spot that could possibly be brought in to fill. But again, that's signing a long-term player for what you hope is a short-term fix or at worst, a year-long fix. But we won't know a lot of that until we get to the MRI and we get some official news from the team on that. But it's unfortunate because we really have yet to see this team at its full potential this year. We saw it for 10 minutes. Yeah. What we saw for the remaining 80 plus was pretty good, but you wonder if it wouldn't have been better and you wouldn't have been waiting until the 80th minute for the Kevin Denke breakthrough if you had Evander on the field during that time period.
Yeah. It makes it so hard to judge because, we don't know how good Atlanta is. And maybe Atlanta's very good. And maybe this team, is not going to fall off a cliff, results wise, performance wise, that there's enough talent surrounding the rest of the team here that will buoy this team. Or they got lucky because they played one of the worst teams in the league first and they didn't, they didn't give up anything. At the end of the day, and I've held off as long as I could.
All right, it's time. Let's talk about it, Kevin, because, nobody loves an injury, especially not to Evander.
No.
Like, bad situation. But into the game, when Evander gets injured, your boy, Dado Valenzuela. So as I'm going to say one of the self-appointed leaders of the Dado cult, How did it feel seeing him come in this situation? And what did you see out of Dotto in this game that leads you to continue drinking the Kool-Aid or maybe to mix in a water every now and then?
Yeah. So one, I was very happy to see that it was Dotto coming in, because there was absolutely a version of this where Obi comes in and maybe Buka moves to more of the 10 role, or they just change up stylistically everything that they're doing with a different player. Maybe Anunga comes in and they just decide, hey, we're going to just try to grind this thing out. I was glad that the reins went to Dotto as more than likely the next man up, the creative attacking midfielder to fill that role. And I think on balance, it was a good performance from Dotto. Again, I don't know how much you grade on a curve here, because he's coming in cold. He's not expecting to start. The rest of the team's not expecting him to start. He's obviously not Evander. So like, it is very important to not immediately go like, he wasn't Evander, he's not good. It's like, okay, well, by all media voting, only two guys in this league are better than Evander, so maybe we take it back a little bit. I think there were opportunities that he created. He's still getting bodied off the ball, and on some level, I think that could be a benefit if he starts getting calls eventually, because this team's ability on set pieces has radically improved. Be that Dotto taking the free kicks and the corner kicks, or when Evander was out there, or when others were taking sort of nice crosses. We appear to be much better at free kicks, so I will take that. And he had a couple of moments.
No,
you're not. You don't like this.
No, that was it. Actively pissed me off. That, he's getting fouled, but he's got to fight through some of these contacts. Like, there was way too many times in the game last night where it was way too easy to bring Dotto Valenzuela down. And, if you're Lionel Messi and somebody breathes on you, they call the foul. And if they don't call the foul when somebody breathes on you, you charge into the official's dressing room like a lunatic without even offering pizza as a thank you item.
Or hamburger.
He's got, on this specific point, I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
He needs to man up a little bit, or person up, or whatever the proper term to use is in 2026. He needs to ice up, get his weight up. He needs to be, if he's going to play this position, and he's going to be the 10, he can't be falling down. Because if you don't get that call, what you have done most likely is you have put yourself out of a play and the ball's going the other way. Like, you've just got to fight through.
Yeah. I think Pat Noonan agrees with you. It doesn't.
He does. I know he does, because he said as much multiple times.
But in terms of what the passing looked like and creating opportunities for guys, I thought he did fine, and I would like to see him get more run. I think, if this is where this is going, it's not like the NFL where you get so many reps with the first team. I understand that, but I'd like to see him, what it looks like when he gets more reps with the first team and he gets more opportunities there, that if he can't, then when forced to, take that step up. Now, granted, if he doesn't, I think you're exactly right. It increases the likelihood that the team makes a move within the league. What's the guy in Kansas City? Manu Garcia, I want to say. It's sort of a number 10 on a terrible team that maybe has some value here. Or, a U22 to at least compete with Dotto in that space. Or a complete rethink of the formation. Like I said, there's a version of this where it is Buka, Obi, and Gidi, and Anunga and Dotto are options off the bench. I don't know. But I think this team can do fine with Dotto in this spot, largely because the rest of the team is so talented and because of the investment on the defense. While frustrating, will ultimately keep them in every game this year. So right. I'm excited to see that. But he had a couple of moments that I thought were good. He had a couple of moments I thought were bad. So we'll see where this goes from here.
Yeah, overall with Dotto, I am sympathetic to the idea that he was not anticipating going into the game in the 10th minute,
13th officially,
13th minute. Yeah, no, I'm sympathetic to that point. I thought he looked fine. Noted hater that I am, I thought that he was fine. I would put it this way: if your take has been Dotto is being held back by this team and he is some talent that you have to find a reason to get on the field, I don't think he showed anything last night that would validate that take. He looked like a very capable MLS bang on average player. And there's nothing to say that if he gets some more run and he comes into a situation where he knows what he's going to do ahead of time and what his role is going to be, that improves. We've certainly seen flashes from him in the past. Yeah, I'm not saying it can't get better. He's young and there's an opportunity in front of him. The line I kept coming back to last night, or the thought I kept coming back to is, yeah, he's offensive Brian Anunga, where giving you competent minutes, but he ain't the guy he's replacing. And it was very apparent watching that he ain't the guy that he's replacing. My hope is that if he's going to have this job for any length of time, step up. Let's see it. I know nothing about the guy, but just based on the vibes, he seems like a guy who thinks that he's the man.
Yeah.
He's got that vibe about him. And I like that. That's like maybe my favorite part about Dotto is that I could see him being the villain in like a teen sports movie.
100%.
Right. Like if they made like the Mighty Ducks of soccer, he's the guy that injures Adam Banks, where it's like Traitor or whatever it is,
The Air Bud soccer movie, Dotto's the villain on the other team.
Yeah. No, he's got like complete, I'm taking your girlfriend and we're shutting the youth center down so my dad can build a country club vibe. Like that's what I'm getting from Dotto. But then there's a disconnect between that guy and the guy that falls over a lot. Where it's like, no, I need you to be the guy taking lunch money, not the guy on the ground looking for your lunch money. Like that doesn't fit who you are. And I need you to be that guy that like has a look of disdain for everyone else in the field with him, that how dare they breathe the same oxygen as me. Like that's the attitude I want out of Dotto. Like play that way and the entire city's going to fall in love with you. Oh. Everybody else in the league's going to hate you.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your ticket to stardom right there. So I'm not saying that he can't evolve into that. I'm just saying that for this game right here, he did what he needed to do, but I didn't see, I would like to see him in future matches really, really make a name for him. So make himself famous a little bit.
Yeah. I would expect, not to jump too far ahead, I'd expect him to start on Wednesday just to like continue to get reps, and then we'll see what we look like going forward from there. It probably is a compliment to him that the team goes on to win, not necessarily because of him, but he doesn't do anything to ultimately cost the game or cost a goal. So that's good.
Kevin, I'm gonna read you something, and you have to promise me that if this causes it to stay up for longer than 5 hours, that you will seek medical attention.
Okay.
All right. So I'm quoting on Blue Sky, the Sometimes app. It's sometimes happening on Blue Sky.
Great tagline. They probably should work on it, though.
Matthew Doyle posted this last night.
Oh, no.
Who's ready for the fucking discourse when Cincy are better and more organized without Evander? Got some good fucking discourse brewing.
Ewing Fury comes to Cincy.
Is Matt Doyle now the head of the Dotto conspiracy, the Dotto-spiracy?
I will say yes, if only because it will keep 11 Yanks from being the head of the Dotto hype train.
How did you find that when 11 Yanks are talking positively about Dotto? Is that really the side you want to be on, Kevin?
Dude, I was immediately like, all right, shipped out to Montreal.
Right.
let's just move on very quickly. I'm sure somebody else out there in this league or the world can do this.
Worst person you know meme.
I just that Lord of the Rings scene where it's like, I never thought I'd find myself fighting alongside an elf, but what about a friend? I sort of have the exact opposite reaction of like, no guys, I think I'm out. Like, I don't know if I can be in this alliance anymore.
11 Yanks and I on the same page. No, can't have that.
Gotta head out.
So I guess we can get to the goal here in a second, but before we get to the goal, I want to talk about a couple other players specifically in this game. First one I want to talk about is Ayoub Jabari.
Yeah.
I was very pleased with Ayoub in this game. I really liked what he was bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a great continuation of what we saw in the midweek game with O&M. I like how active he is.
Yeah.
And you can tell that they want him to play a similar role to what they were getting out of Kai Kamara, or what was left of Kai Kamara when they signed him last year. It was I was pleased with how all over the field Jabari was, how there was a willingness from him to go out wide. If he needed to go out wide, there was a willingness of him to play a little dirty, get mixed up in it a little bit. He's very active.
Yeah.
Runs like a tornado of shins, elbows, wrists, and knees. I'm in on the Jabari experiment. I know it's only been like a quarter of a game in the Dominican and now a little more than 2/3, 3/4 of a game here at home. I see the vision. I see what is brewing, and I like it. I like that he seems to be doing a lot of different things on the field that feel like they're contributing positively to the overall product.
Yeah. It's funny. We already mentioned him actually in reference to Jabari, but ever since you mentioned this, I can't stop seeing similarities. It feels a little Brandon Vasquez-y out there. He doesn't score in this game, so I don't want to heap too much praise on there, but he was very active. He does have the same sort of similar thing as Brandon, where the first touch could be a little sharper. If Brandon's first touch was on point, I don't know that he would have been in MLS for very long. But Jabari being huge, there's being 6'6" in real life is very tall, right? In soccer, present company excluded, 6'6" will make you the tallest person in the room most of the time. In soccer, you're a foot taller than everybody else on the field.
You're just you are a literal giant among everyone else in the field, and he uses that effectively. And it didn't happen in this game, obviously, but I like the idea of Ayoub Jabari just being out there with his tall self.
Yeah.
When Brian Ramirez is whipping crosses into the box, or when our newfound threatening ability on set pieces flares up again.
Yeah. I mean, if Dotto and Ramirez in particular are going to be serving in crosses regularly through the run of play or on set pieces, I want Jabari in there. And I think Denke has the skill set to clean up whatever chaos comes out of that if they don't immediately score off the header. And I think something along those lines is going to be more than enough to score regularly in this league, where the defenses are just, a grade or a half a grade, if you want to be generous, behind where most offenses are. That's going to work. And what we have not had, ever, maybe since Ledesma in 2018, is good set pieces, solid whipped in balls. Looks like they're actually running plays of some kind. And this was the first time we got open headers.
And set pieces, not so much that we've had players, we have one right now in Evander, if he's healthy, where it's he can score on a set piece by himself.
That's fine.
But that's fine. That's all well and good. But what I want more about a set pieces are we enable other people to score goals, and we're not reliant on the wonder strike that bends into the top corner or, the Olympico that scores off the corner. So I was excited to be watching corner kicks where the goal didn't seem to be scoring off the corner. That sparked joy from my seats.
Yeah. Like Lucho was horrific at corners in particular. Free kicks, yes, he could bury the occasional shot. Evander is a little better, but wherever he was improving, it didn't seem like the team was like doing anything to get good opportunities. And now the early returns this year suggest that like we are going to be better at getting guys like Hagland and Robinson and Jabari opportunities to get their head on the ball. And
we seeing the Utley effect, perhaps.
It's very possible.
Perhaps
there's some good
Many
things
saying.
afoot here. Like this is nice. So
the other player I want to spend a moment of our time on was Miles Robinson, because I'm gonna bitch frequently this year that he's a designated player. No slight on Miles. I would sign a designated player deal too if I was him, if they offered it to me. It's more of a critique of Chris Albright's roster management, of one of the few decisions he's made that I vehemently disagree with. Yeah. Having said that, Miles played a very good game.
Yeah.
Played a very, very good game in terms of the rare opportunities Atlanta had where they looked potentially threatening. Miles snuffed out personally at least 2 or 3 of them. Like, not even like, he was commanding the back line. Miles specifically stopped plays and stopped scoring opportunities before they were even allowed to manifest themselves into the world. So I thought he played a very good game. The goal line clearance, while ultimately unnecessary, was an incredible athletic play.
Oh my God.
He damn near assisted a goal that I think Kevin Denke wishes he had another opportunity on.
It's a super awkward position. I'm fine criticizing Denke not doing better there, but he just gets his feet tangled up. The ball bounces just a hair too far away from him. But yeah, I mean, Robinson has like a good look at goal there. Like, could have easily scored on that play, which was awesome to see.
Yeah. So, and I was watching a little bit of the game. RIP in peace. If you are an announcer that are calling FC Cincinnati games, what you need to do for the day leading up to the game is put a picture of Miles Robinson and Ayoub Jabari next to one another and learn the difference between the two, because it is embarrassing that you can't tell them apart.
Yeah, they don't look that close. Like if you were confusing Tom Barlow and Nick Hagland, who I think look very similar, I would understand.
Just two nondescript white guys. Yeah, I get it. But like, I'm sorry, man. Like, you got to be able to tell the difference between Miles Robinson and Ayoub Jabari. That's table stakes for calling a game in this league.
Especially when Robinson, Cincinnati's considered one of the better teams in the league. Robinson's one of the designated players, therefore one of the star players on one of the best teams. Like, you should probably know what that guy looks like.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't know I don't know, Flores looked like, I'd understand a little bit. But
I will say that I like the new kits, like them a lot. Purchased one. Yeah. Love it. Great feel on the material. Interesting design choices. They should fire the person into the sun that decided to make the numbers orange on the back instead of blue. Like, that is just why.
I don't know why they do this.
Especially from a broadcast television point of view, you are just doing the broadcast team dirty by putting orange numbers on a white background. That's just, you are asking for problems and identification issues.
They did this with the Cincinnati flag kit as well, where it was like all orange,
silver numbers,
and then silver numbers. So dude, it's all reflective and stuff.
The point of numbers is to identify players. Like, we have lost the plot when the numbers are hard to see.
Like, I know it wouldn't be the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but like a drop shadow, some sort of outline of in black or blue would help in this space. I don't know.
Literally anything. The orange numbering is so, while I find it unforgivable that they're having difficulty telling these two gentlemen apart. The numbering system is not helping in the slightest in terms of quick recognition of who these players are.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's game one, and you'll have some weirdness like this, but credit to the broadcaster who did sort of own up to the mistake and admitted a couple of times. Not great you had to do it, but hey, there we go.
Here we're all about accountability here.
Yeah.
So should we talk about the goal? Because it comes late in this game. I was fearful that this was going to end up being a 0-0 affair. And I was prepared to come onto the show and say, yeah, they look good, but same old problems, getting into dangerous opportunities. You can forgive it because Evander's not there. And the conversation around Kevin Denke was going to be very different this episode if the goal hadn't been scored. But let's talk about the goal.
The goal comes off of a great counterattack. This is in the 79th.
Wait, say that again.
A great counterattack.
Boy, doesn't that feel good to say. How long has it been since we've been able to say that? Like, God, we were begging for this all last year.
And like, what happens here is repeatable. Like, there's nothing about this that is like extraordinary or like such a colossal mistake by the opposing team that you can't imagine this happening too many times. It's not St. Louis's year one where everybody just kept passing to João Klaus. Okay. Like, this is a repeatable play. So it actually starts with Sammy Guidi breaking up a pass, getting a little interference, a little block on there, where the ball is then played back out to, or back with the center back. I want to say Nick Haglund passes that ball up to the middle of the field where it goes to. Is that Dotto that gets the header on it? Am I crazy?
It's Dotto. It's Dotto.
Dotto heads the ball into the path of Samuel Guidi, who is rushing to join the oncoming attack. And Guidi passes the ball, splitting 5 defenders, perfectly weighted into the path of Ender Echenique, who is sprinting down. And this is the joy of having a couple of attacking threats. Denke's about level with him the entire way. Denke starts to break out towards the middle of the box. Echenique is still towards the right edge of the box, attacking. And the defender just has to split the difference, isn't able to do much, gets the pass off to Denke, who takes a little touch. Keeper comes out. Keeper almost comes out and takes it right off of Denke's foot. He just dribbles very, very gently around the keeper. The defense does get in line to attempt a goal line defense, and he slots it right in between all of them. Goal. 1-0 FC Cincinnati in the 80th minute. Oh, baby.
Yeah. You know why it's repeatable? Because this looked like, for the first time in a while, that this was a set and designed pattern of play.
Yeah.
That in that moment when there was a turnover, that we know what to do.
Yeah.
And that is to do whatever you can to offload the ball to Ender. And then Ender takes it and uses his speed, play the ball into space that Ender is running into. Ender runs into space, and then Denke peels his run away from Ender towards goal. The defender has to make a decision in that moment, and the decision has to be to stop Ender. And then that frees up the pass to Denke. Denke then does his thing where it's like, no, yes, in terms of doesn't pull the trigger, but dances around the goalkeeper, slots it home. This is what you should be doing when your wing backs have the ability and have the speed to break free. And when your striker isn't a target man striker, like, there is no excuse for not using Denke in this manner, having him running at goal and feeding him on the run, using your wing backs and using their speed to cause problems on the break like this. A lot of one touch, simple passes. No one is attempting to do too much with the ball until Ender gets the ball and he has green grass in front of him. And that's all the touches in this are good. The touch that Dotto has to offload the ball immediately to Guidi, who's moving forward.
Yep.
And then there's an immediate pass played into space. There's not an extra touch. There's not an opportunity to let the defense get settled. It's boom, and we're off to the races. And I love it for any number of reasons, but also because, look, until this point, Denke had kind of a howler of a game for my money. It's excusable in some of the instances what had happened, like you were talking about earlier. He's wrong-footed. The ball, comes to him at an awkward angle. It bounces weird. He slips. He loses his footing. The chance goes by. There was a chance earlier in the game where it's a deflected pass that falls right in front of him, and he's 1v1 with the keeper. And I'm sorry, you're a $17 million striker. You have to make that shot 1v1.
Yeah.
I don't care what the keeper is doing. He tries to go wide. He gets a little cute with it. It hits off the post and bounces harmlessly out of play. That was, for me, that was a what are we doing here moment. And then he redeems it by making arguably a tougher shot.
Yes.
By having to dribble the keeper and then slot it between two defenders who had gotten back to play defense on the back line.
Yeah. It's not unlike Jabari at the midweek, who misses like the easy header and misses the penalty and then makes the super tight angle in front of three guys, hits the roof of the net shot. Yeah. Like our guys just need it to be more difficult. They don't take easy shots.
They don't want the degree of difficulty still has to be enough to interest them in continuing to play. So, respect, but also like Kevin needed that one.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Kevin needed that. I'm glad that he got the goal. I'm glad he did that. I'm glad that the story is not, man, he missed a 1v1 and we end up drawing this game 0-0. Now we can say, okay, like he is in the book for the year so far, 2026. One goal, whatever else happens, we're not going to start the season on a goal drought or have to start asking questions. We got the first goal out of the way very early on in the process.
Yeah. Back-to-back games with goals for Kevin Denke. You like to see that. I gotta say too, Guidi's play in this, from being the one to initially break up the pass and sort of start the movement, to immediately running and being the one who plays the more difficult ball of the entire thing, is incredible, and something that we had missed from that spot in the field for a while. And Echenique's like heads up to recognize of like, okay, pass is broken up. This is my chance. And Denke as well is not too far deep. Like he is up there as well, as able to run up. There's a version of this where Denke is still 10 yards behind, and Echenique has to slow up or is making a much more difficult pass or trying to do it all by himself or something. So it's just like it all worked out really, really well. That was awesome to see. I don't know where we stand on MLS assists. I don't know how those are still awarded, but I think Guidi certainly earned one on this play, especially given the one that he was the one who started the whole movement.
And it looked like it was off the training ground, which is good. Yeah. I like that. I like patterns of play that seem repeatable. And again, like you pointed out, it's good that Denke was up the field. Like be close to goal. That's your job, is to be as close to the goal as possible. You are not going to score goals dropping way deep into the midfield or way deep back on the defensive end to defend when you need a goal to win the game. So I thought that was really, really well done. And what I liked especially was that they did not seem to shut down and go into defensive mode after scoring this goal. They scored this goal in the 80th minute. And what I think everyone in the stadium was expecting was, okay, this is where Pat Noonan sees out yet another Pat Noonan one goal game. They did not. They kept pressing for the second goal, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
More of that. More killer instinct, please.
And it was good to see, like, 70th minute, there was, solid rotation pieces. Hadebe comes out, Flores goes in. That made sense. Hadebe had a very awkward sort of saving the ball from going out of bounds sideline thing where
looked like he was hurt possibly, but he seemed like it was okay.
It looked way worse live. He does seem to be okay, but it made sense that they subbed him out fairly quickly afterwards. Jabari for Barlow makes sense. Just fresh legs, especially given that we don't have the deepest striker room and they do need to ultimately have somebody play on Wednesday. These guys played last Wednesday as well, so you want to keep everybody fresh. The true see out the game subs don't come until the corner kick where the second goal is scored in the 89th minute, where Obi goes in for Dotto, which makes sense, and Powell goes in for Echenike. Again, makes sense. You want to keep guys fresh, and it makes sense to make some more defensive subs at the 90th minute versus the 80th minute.
It's always fun too when your score sheet on your team sheet features a player like Dotto where subbed in and subbed out in the same game. You're really living, you're getting the full experience of playing a soccer match in that one.
Usually that means that guy had the worst game ever. I did not the case with Dotto. No, it made sense tactically.
It's still funny though.
Very funny. And what I love about this is on the second goal, it's Ramirez taking the corner kick. So if you're looking at the sort of hierarchy of where guys are corner kick takers, it goes Evander, Dotto, Brian Ramirez as the third choice there. Amazing cross. It's so good. I'm kind of shocked he's not on corner kicks more often, at least on his side of the field. I would rather have a more versatile attacker in the box than having, somebody who is a crossing specialist not doing the crossing. It's an awesome ball. It lands perfectly to Haglund's heads it in. Has an incredible celebration. I just if you go back and look at it, Dotto is still walking back to the bench. He's right behind the goal celebrating. It is that quick as to when he came off to when this goal is scored. And Nick has the sword pull celebration, which has so many layers to this. He did it for a kid named Jude that he met in a hospital who requested this. Nick was also pointing out that obviously the sword pull is a stadium tradition, and the last time he did it he was injured and all of these fun things. So, and
also a reference to his alma mater.
Oh,
Xavier
yeah, I guess
University.
That was in there too.
Yeah. It's required that we note all of the reasons why the celebration was cool.
I guess there were 4 reasons. Sure.
Whatever. You beat Kansas this week. Fuck off.
Yeah, this is the Wes Miller experience, is being below average and then beating 2 ranked teams you had no business beating.
Yeah, I want to make sure everyone knows this. The official position of the Post, Kevin and I were talking about this earlier, is extend Wes Miller. Don't wait till the end of the season. Get the contract signed now. 5 more years. You can't take away what he's done this year, and you can't stop the momentum that the program is building right now.
I can't wait for them to go out to lose to TCU next or whatever the next play.
Get the contract signed now. We don't want to wait. Don't wait.
You don't even need an extension. I think he's under contract to 2031 or something. He's already signed.
Obviously it's going to be too expensive to sign Travis Steele, which is Kevin's second choice for how to fix UC basketball.
I would take Miami season in a heartbeat, though.
Great for Nick, though, man.
Yeah.
He came close earlier in the match. I'm just excited to see set piece goals. It feels like it shouldn't be this hard to let your tall guys jump and head the ball, but apparently we've just been not doing that. We got for the better part of 3 or 4 years.
Really good tall guys. That's the thing. If it was all short boys on this team, I understand that's just not a skill we have in our bag. Right. But Robinson kind of has a reputation for having a nose for goal. Nick has scored any number of headed goals in his career. Jabari's the biggest dude out there in every game. Why are we not doing this?
I've seen Teenage has ups, man. I've seen some of those bicycle kicks. My man can get up in the air a little bit.
Crazy.
Sometimes you just overthink things, and I feel like we've been profoundly overthinking the corner kick process.
Yeah.
And maybe that was Utley's big thing, is that he came in and he was like, are y'all aware that these guys are huge? Have you thought about letting them jump and head the ball? I don't know. I'm spitballing. You brought me in for new ideas here. That seems like an easy thing we can do right now.
It's always a dangerous game, especially in a new job where you challenge assumptions. It's like, okay, right. I'm sure you guys thought of this, but I knew, and I got to ask the question.
just help me understand your process here, because it feels like there's a missing piece right here. And maybe you've thought about this already and decided it's not for you. But like, I got to ask, have you thought about letting them jump?
It could be pretty deadly.
Right.
So yeah, awesome. I
just love the idea of Brett Utley showing Noonan and the coaching staff footage of other people jumping and scoring headed goals. It's like, this could be us. I mean, I see this a lot. Maybe you guys haven't seen the same. Maybe we're watching different games and we're watching different footage, but I think this could be brilliant for us.
I know it doesn't feel that way, but I think the statistics bear it out that we've always been a very good set piece defensive team. We don't give up a lot of, corner kick goals on headers and things like that. It's very possible that our coaching staff just forgot it was a thing. They just haven't seen one in a while.
Right. Like, do you think that the fix was like you sit Nick and Miles and Teenage and, Gilberto and Matt's resting up, and you're like, so I know you guys are really good at defending set pieces, and this is a wild thought. What if you did the things that really annoy you to have to defend? Like, think in your mind about God, I hate it when other team does this because it's very hard to defend and we have to work really hard and use all our talent to stop it. What if you did that to them?
What if you did that?
What if you flipped it on them and you were the people that were tough to defend?
You guys are so good at heading the ball away from the goal. It's really the same skill to head it towards the goal.
Right. It's almost like the George Costanza. It's like, I just need you to do the opposite
right.
of what you think you should be doing on a corner kick when someone steps up to take it. When it's your guy taking the kick, just do the opposite.
Yeah. Just whatever you think about it, do the opposite.
You'll
be set.
It'd be great. And I just see Nick taking notes, oh yeah, definitely, yeah,
neat,
yeah,
good idea.
Miles is like, wait, they don't talk about this in the national team camp. What? Or wait, all of a sudden, all the meetings in the national team camp that he's been really confused by. It's like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Oh my God. I must have sounded so stupid when.
No wonder Poch didn't call me in for 2 years.
Right. See, because we were in this meeting where they were talking about scoring goals on set pieces. And I was like, well, that's dumb. I'm not going to do that. And everybody looked at me. God, now I see what the problem was.
Oh, I could have scored goals for the national team.
Oh, man. Damn. I must have sounded really dumb. Good on us for figuring it out, though, whatever it was.
I'll take it. And if it leads to more haggling goal celebrations, I will be super happy. I saw him pat Latte Loth on the back after scoring the goal, too, which is really nice. Really nice. Also, I got to say, Chief, I didn't advertise it. I did not try to push it too hard. If folks did not listen to the interview with Evan Leroux, then you missed Nick Hagglund crashing the interview, having a very good time, may or may not have confessed to things that he probably shouldn't have, but this means Nick Hagglund, after appearing as PostCast bump, baby, we got a little credit on this. We got a little MLS assist on this.
Yeah. So first thing my wife texted me after the game was just PostCast bump. I was like, hell yeah. That's right. That counts. He appeared on the show, even though he was not the scheduled guest.
Yeah.
He appeared on the show and scored a goal. Impossible to ignore at this point.
Many people are saying
he appeared on the show and scored a goal. Evan appeared on the show and apparently got paid Like that is, if we're just talking like positive if we're just talking like positive outcomes created by the postcast, we had a very good episode a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So yeah. Also, go back and listen to that if you didn't, because it's
absurd.
Funny.
It's very absurd.
Oh God. Anything else?
Maybe we need to get Ayub Jabari on. Like that's a man who needs the postcast bump.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a man
Tom
who
Barlow
I want to see.
Feels more our speed, but I'll take whoever.
Yeah. No.
But Chief, is there anything on the field about this game that you wanted to touch on before we head on over to part 2?
No. Good win. Top of the table. 3 points. +2 goal differential. The XG battle is off and running for the year. Good shit.
Currently second place in the East. You got to take that. On the XG table, Chief, second place. Oh, yeah.
I bet the XG differential table is pretty favorable to you boys, too.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. The
that's
XG
yeah.
Differential table.
Yeah.
New York Red Bulls sort of running away with it very early, but otherwise we're solid in second place.
I want to give us a ball miller credit on that, because we were all high on the Red Bulls on the MLS Eastern Conference preview on the World's Game. Like that feels prescient.
And not sold on Orlando, and it really came to. So that was good. Eastern Conference preview on the World's Game. If you didn't catch that, had some technical issues. It didn't get posted until Saturday. It's a tier list thing, so it's not necessarily game specific. So I think it is still relevant after the weekend's results.
Maybe more relevant.
Yeah. I'd say our things lined up pretty well. DC was like the big surprise, but otherwise I trust us there. So that was good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's head on over to part 2. Touch on a couple of things, not excluding the O&M Wednesday match, and then we'll get you out of here.
Hi, I'm doing this ad because my dad said it was cheaper than paying intern Luke. If you like FC Cincinnati and you're still listening to this stupid podcast, you might also like the stuff that is for sale on the Post website. There are some designs on there that are pretty neat and some that needed a little more work. There is even a reversible bucket hat that says Noonan out on one side and Noonan in on the other side, which I've been told to say is very funny. If you even buy something, Chief might even release away days. Go to thepostcincy.com and click merch. Or don't. That's okay too. Okay, thanks, bye.
Now, before we get to what we are going to talk about, I do want to say, if folks don't know, we started a new Patreon tier, and in that it includes a virtual happy hour once a month as we get into this season. We will be announcing the date of that tomorrow when this episode releases.
Today when you're listening to it.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for there. We'll do a virtual thing. It's about an hour once a month. We might end up doing 2 in March just because of how February shook out. But it's a good time. We'll hang out. We'll try to bring in some people from the PostCast extended universe. Chit chat. Maybe if there's Champions League games on, we'll try to find a way to sort of like put it on the stream as well and talk about other things. And then it is my goal to make the recording of that available only to the higher tier patrons. So not necessarily exclusive content, because it'll be very time sensitive there, as well as I don't know how much soccer we'll get to, but it'll be a good hangout. You can come in, hang out, we'll ask questions, we'll goof around. It'll be a good time. So you got that. Now, the match day programming notes. There are 2 things I definitely want to address. The first one,
before also,
please,
related as well. Part of what your Patreon supports is the written content that's being generated over at the Post, the Cincy Post, or the postcincy.com. I should know the name of our own website. Over at the postcincy.com. If you don't know, if you just listen to us here on the podcast, number one, great. Love you for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What we do have, though, beyond that, is we do have the Discord. Kevin talks about that at the end of the show in the ad read that I'm sure most people skip. Come on. Feel free to hop onto the Discord. Nobody bites. And if they did, it's virtual, so they can't really harm you anyway. I think that we're close to the largest FC Cincinnati online community right now. If we're not, we're maybe you joining away, whoever's listening to this, from making that a reality. But on the website, the Post Cincy, we also have, and we have had this for over a year now, almost 2 years. We have a reporter, a beat writer, Damon Gumbert, who is at all of the FC Cincinnati home games live in the press box. He's live tweeting during the games. You can follow him on social media. There's a link in the description of this show, I believe, and there's definitely a link on the Post Cincy website as well. He's at the post-match press conferences with Pat Noonan, asking the questions that, matter most to the listeners and the readers of the Post Cincy.
Yep.
We're phenomenally we're thrilled. It's the coolest thing ever that we have a credentialed reporter that is attending matches and covering this team. Your Patreon dollars help to support that, because we are paying Damon some money this year. So this is no longer just a labor of love for him. He's making a little bit of cash out of this, and that I could not be happier about that. We don't want the Patreon money for ourselves. The Patreon money always goes to things that make the experience better. And I definitely think that adding another voice to the press conferences and the coaches' rooms and the press box, I think that makes the experience better for everyone. So please, if you haven't, go check out the website, thepostcincy.com, read Damon's content, like, share, spread the word, because we want everybody to know that there's other written content, and don't have to just rely on AI generated reports at MLS.com. And everybody read Laurel, read Carter.
Yes.
But, share, help support the media ecosystem. It's dying around sports, and especially MLS in this country. So I want to make sure we gave a shout out to Damon. Great write up of the game. Go read it at thepostcincy.com.
Yeah, and it's thorough. It's a good breakdown, including lots of quotes that he is in the room getting, which has just been great to have that. And looking to expand more on the written side as we go. But Damon is absolutely a cornerstone of whatever that looks like. So the two things I wanted to quickly address. One, Chief, I'm sure you noticed this: the sword pull. The sword pull happens. Fine sword puller. I guess I'm a bad sports fan. I had no idea who this guy was.
Well, I knew who he was. I knew who Sean Clifford was, just because I've lost money betting on Sean Clifford previously.
Okay.
On Penn State offense. I just sort of spaced on the fact that he was a St. X alum. So
okay.
Go Bombers. I think he was on the Bengals as a backup at some point too. I don't know when, but
I was like, they sort of implied he was now, but I don't think he is. Or if he is, he's like, I guess, the fourth string quarterback. So
behind like Flacco, Browning, and
Burrow.
I guess Burrow. Yeah.
So, So if he is on there, he's probably the fourth string.
Good for him.
I mean, I'm not on the Bengals, so what am I doing?
No, I didn't start at Penn State.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had passing records at Penn State. Yeah. That's
it's not hard. Penn State isn't exactly known for offense ever.
Fair. And quarterback play specifically.
Yeah, running backs. Yeah, hell yeah. If you're like the all-time leading rusher at Penn State, you got my attention. All-time leading passer. It's kind of like what? Like 50 yards a game you averaged?
Right.
It's like being the all-time leading passer for Army or something like that.
Yeah. Tight end. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Right.
Somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than that, because I'm sure it's difficult to find sword pullers, also like the well of Cincinnati celebrity is going to run pretty dry pretty quickly if you do this.
They're pretty picked over at this point too. Yeah. Like we, myself and another group chat I'm on, we were trying to come up with a list of people who could still do it as like a sword puller that haven't. And you're pretty much just limited to what we were coming up with were athletes that play on other Cincinnati sports teams or politicians that will probably get booed by between 25 to 90% of the stadium, depending on affiliation.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of beloved retired politicians to pick from. So
Nope.
You're looking at active duty politicians, which is always going to be a mixed bag. Yeah, then you get the coach or potentially star player of the college team, but then you run into the sort of mixed loyalties there. So it can be tricky. Sometimes I'm impressed where they're like, hey, this guy's from Cincinnati. Who's like, oh, like that's quite the resume. I had no idea he had a connection.
Right. So you're saying Wes Miller next?
If it's anything like what Sean Miller got, it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah. Or Richard Pitino. He wasn't exactly warmly welcomed by the Cincinnati faithful for pulling the sword last year.
Yeah. What? Yeah, not good. But regardless, I think my biggest issue is they moved it to the middle of the field, where I guess they are doing it to the pitch view club and the tunnel club folks who, especially on a cold night, were just not out. So there's no vibe there. But then it did always kind of sort of feel like a thing between the Bailey and the sword puller. And the term Bailey is a sword thing or a castle thing, which is where the sword motif even comes from. It felt very weird to take the Bailey out of the sword tradition. And I was never the biggest fan of the sword pull tradition to begin with. They somehow made it worse 3 or 4 years into it. But Chief, talk me off a ledge. What happened to our silly little tradition?
I don't know. I've never been a sword pull guy. I've noted this many times in the past. I think with 15 minutes, or minutes being mean, an hour of brainstorming, you could come up with a better sort of ritual or tradition than the sword pull. It's almost been going on long enough now that it would feel silly to change it. So congratulations, ISIS has won. The sword pull is a thing. I don't know. Is it a thing that they did? It's easier to get it on and off the field there. Cause where did it go after that? Cause the problem with the sword thing has always been that the stone, whatever it is that the sword sits in, it goes and lives in the corner of the stadium because they have to get it off the field pretty quickly. I don't know if it's related to that, or, you'll never believe this. This is a little bit of inside baseball from the supporters group years. Yeah. Maybe you were at some of these meetings. I don't know. But you would occasionally, they used to have this thing that was a supporters council or a fan council or something like that, where fans would be selected from the community of season ticket holders that would sit on the fan council. And that was a big thing. People had to get nominated to join the fan council, and somebody had to write an essay or whatever. And they would meet once a quarter. And it was a separate thing from when they would meet with the SGs to talk about Bailey type stuff. This was more general stadium type things. Yeah. And I got invited to a couple of those by, various people that were, involved in this at the club. Right. Just hey, can you come and, be a voice from the SGs when I was, doing that sort of stuff. You would be shocked at the number of bad ideas that came out of the fan council. And, if you were on the fan council, God love you. I'm sure you are probably not the person I'm talking about. Right. I'm guessing based on the comments, the people I'm referring to are not podcast listeners of the FC. But there was a constant bitch, and it was a bitch. It was not well-founded critique. It was just complaining that too much of what goes on in the stadium is Bailey focused. Okay. And we pay season ticket money too, and the players only go and celebrate with the Bailey. What about all of us? Why aren't they doing a ritual thing or a hype thing with us? Or everyone talks about the Bailey, but we're in section 230 and we're cheering just as loud as they are. And right, sure. And so I don't know if the terrorists finally won, and it was people were complaining about the sword being too Bailey focused. I don't know. Who knows?
I'm sure that's part of it. Can I just say something?
Go for it.
This is very controversial.
I'm sure it is.
I don't have season tickets in the Bailey anymore. I'm one of the normies now. I've sat in, I have had an actual official ticket to what I truly believe to be the widest variety of seats in the stadium. I've sat in virtually every section, high, low. I've been in the fanciest seats. I've been at the literal top row of the Bailey. I've been everywhere. The Bailey, when it comes to being an active participant in the stadium's atmosphere, is doing 10 times what you're doing. Like, I get that you're paying a lot of money. It is not a small amount of money to be a fan of this team. They're selling $13 truths. All right. I get it. Like, I understand and appreciate where you were coming from. But when it comes
free truths on this podcast,
it's preach. But when it comes to the flag waving, the singing of the songs, the drums, the microphones, there is an entire PA system. And I don't know that people know this. It feels like, coming from that world, it feels obvious, but I understand a lot of people don't know this. Every drummer pays for a ticket to be there. Every person on a megaphone bought a ticket to do that. They are not comped that. They are not free. They are not club employees. These are ragamuffins that the supporters groups have decided are the least likely to kill somebody with what little thing that they give them. And that's a real thing, because they almost killed Omar Cummings one time with a megaphone. Like, that is a real concern that has come up before.
It used to be a lot more dangerous to drop a megaphone from the Bailey at Nippert than it was to drop one at TQL Stadium.
Yeah, almost got megaphones completely banned from the FC Cincinnati world. The Bailey's doing a lot of unpaid work, unpaid effort, and I am not saying that our fans not in the Bailey are not good fans. I think we have some of the most educated fans. The way that the entire stadium booed Latte Loth tells me that our fan base as a whole is locked in. Like, they know
online.
The storylines. They know the players. I go back and watch the first goal, the highlight of that first goal. When that pass happens to Echenike, you see the entire crowd rise to their feet. They know something big is happening. It's awesome. I love to see it. That absolutely contributes to the environment and the atmosphere 100%. But the Bailey is doing that the whole game, the entire time, unpaid, with obstructed views and sitting there trying to figure out how to get all the equipment to work. They deserve the extra attention. If anything, they don't get enough, which is going to go to every single SG leader's head. I understand that. This is a slippery slope to be playing with, but they don't get enough credit for doing that. When you're thinking about, oh, this stadium is so tough to play in, nobody's thinking, gosh, the guys in the fancy boxes, they really give it to you. No, they're not thinking that, man. So to take that away killed what little hype that the sword pool generated, is what I'm trying to say. So
maybe it'll be back. Maybe this was a one-time thing just to see. Yeah. And if it was, bring it back the old way. Yeah. Like, if we're going to do the dumb sword thing, like, do the dumb sword thing where they get to wave the sword at the Bailey. That's hype. I would have thought they would have kept that, because when they beat Columbus in the playoffs, weren't shy about giving Carl and Jeff and all the people the sword to go yelling and screaming at the Bailey. That was fun as hell. That was rad.
Yes.
Like, that's what the sword's for.
And you want the Bailey hype. There's a version of this where the Bailey is like super milquetoast and like doesn't really care that much, and like the other sections are really into it. And I promise you, that environment sucks. That's just not a good environment. Go to England if you want that, and everybody can sing the same 3 songs, and act like it's really fun. The last thing I wanted to bring up, or the second thing and the last thing, is no Dunkin Donut race at halftime.
Sad. And
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I wonder, I hope Evan is okay, because Evan always seemed to be really thrilled about the Dunkin race on the field. Like, he seemed to be a big proponent of cheering for his favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I had two other things that you did not bring up, Kevin.
Okay, please.
All right. Pre-game, we are now, we have a very medieval themed video package that's introducing the players.
Yes,
where
we
they're
do.
all holding swords. And some of them don't look keen on holding a sword as a weapon in their photographs. There are some people that look at it like, you want me to do what with this? And then you've got people like Miles Robinson with the hardest pose ever.
Yeah.
Like flexing with the sword on his back. Like,
Man.
the only way that could have gone harder is if the sword would have been 10 times bigger and he was doing like the Cloud Strife or something like that.
Right.
I love it. I need them to give a little bit better photo instructions to the players of like, this is cool. You need to look badass with this, not like you're afraid you're going to stab yourself holding it.
The pictures reminded me of, and you see this all the time, especially in soccer, the World Cup, for whatever reason, is the worst offender of this, where they will tell all the players to take a video of them crossing their arms. And there is something that I guess like soccer players, like half of them don't get this menu, where they put its palms flat with thumbs out and like extra deep, where they just always look like the shyest kid at the school dance.
Or like doing the Mary Catherine Gallagher.
Yes. They're gonna sniff them and call themselves superstars. It's not a good look. You see it especially with like the youth teams. If you ever see like the photos, they all just like look like scared little school kids.
Right.
But I got the same vibe from like Jabari holding the sword, where he was like allergic to swords and was
right.
like
He's got it real far away from him right here, like doing like afraid he's going to cut his own head off or something with it. It's like, my man, I guarantee you they didn't give you a sharp sword. I guarantee you this is blunted in some way.
It's not going to get you.
No.
So I thought that was good. And what else did you notice?
And number two, Kevin, did you notice?
Oh,
There is a new voice of TQL Stadium. We have a new stadium public address announcer.
I didn't notice and only learned this well after the fact, after the game.
Yeah. It was subtle, but if you listened, it was a little different.
Yeah.
The cheese dickery on the way some lines were delivered had been increased a little bit.
Yeah.
The player intro is a little different now. We're talking about what player wearing a number as opposed to not just number 19 or number 12.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good luck.
Yeah.
Just don't be John Horton and everything will be all right.
Oh, is that the guy who did the accents?
Yeah, don't do that.
That was bad, especially given how far ranging the team comes from these days.
Yeah, I don't want to hear him doing, Kevin Denke or Sammy Yeedy. I don't need that controversy in our lives.
Yeah, what's the Moroccan accent? Like, hey man, maybe we don't do this.
Don't. Maybe we don't know. Maybe we just don't find out.
I did find it was funny that clearly a disconnect between. This was the only thing I noticed. I didn't realize it was a new voice. There was a disconnect between what the video was saying the position of the player was and what the announcer was saying the position of the player. I've noticed this trend across a lot of different platforms is they're calling our wingbacks forwards, which I don't think is right.
That's not right.
I would accept midfielder or defender. I don't think forward is right. And right. I think the video called them forwards and the announcer called them midfielders, something like that. So.
Playing with 4 forwards, it's a bold choice.
Yeah, I know, right? When you list out the formation that way, you're like, this team is nuts. Matt Noonan's a madman.
The other thing that I thought was off is that, so a few years ago, it used to be they would introduce everyone in the position group, starting with goalkeeper, and then they would move to defenders, midfielders, forwards, and it would just go in order. A few years back, when Lucho was prime Lucho, they made the switch that they would announce Lucho last because he was the team captain, and they would announce him as the captain, Lucho Acosta. And then it would make sense. Oh, that's why he's being introduced last. Probably it was an ego play for Lucho. Like, we want to make sure we're petting the dog a little bit.
Yeah.
But then that continued, that they would always introduce the captain last, and they would say that this is the captain, and all of a sudden it would make sense. This year, they introduced Miles Robinson last, but didn't announce him as the captain. And if you don't announce him as the captain, it just feels like you forgot him during his position group and had to circle back. Like, oh, my bad. I forgot Miles is back there too.
Yeah, especially too when Denke is usually the second to last one. So then you start going like, okay, well, wait, then should you have done Evander third to last? And then does it just become like, we're just going to go down
last?
Yeah, or an order of salary.
Everyone gets really embarrassed when they're the first name read. It's like, oh, God damn it, guys, really?
And then it's like by budget hit, right? So the U22s get announced first, even though they're making a little bit more money. It's a whole mess.
So, it's like the homegrown guys and the Generation Adidas guys get read first.
Right. On a supplemental roster spot. It's, oh, man, you don't have to throw that in.
It would make the games a lot more awkward if they were like actually announcing their salary as they should do this in college basketball too, because I really do want to know when I'm watching a game and my team gets trucked, I do want to know how much money the other side's making. Like, we talk about that in all other sports. Like, why are we ignoring that in this one specific context? Especially
when like college basketball, it could be wild. Like, you don't know if like that tiny little mid-major has like a super donor who bought them 2 players, right? But they're like multi-million-dollar players, but 2 players. And you're like, okay.
Yeah, I want to know that for gambling purposes and for how angry I am at the result of this game.
Right. Because, same bonds. Like, how did we lose to that? And you're like, oh, wait, no, they're getting bankrolled. Okay, it's a little easier to take this.
I mean, you could do that to the other team. That would be kind of a troll move, is to announce their salaries. It's like you were announcing them. Making a scant $109,000 it's the league minimum. Overpaid at $2.5 million. Emmanuel Latte Loth,
prime buyout candidate. Alex Morochuk comes into the game.
How much GAM they take up on the roster spot?
They traded 3 MLS All-Stars to bring him in.
Just look at an absolute horseshit way to introduce the other team. Oh, good game going on now. We've got O&M, the organizational college. They travel north to lovely and charming Cincinnati. I always feel bad for teams from South and Central America that get to experience the joys of Midwestern weather from the paradise weather they call home year round.
It's going to be chilly, and it's not a city that you can go brag to your friends that you went to.
Yeah, no. Like, there's minimal opportunities to have fun when you're here for like a day and a half to play a soccer game and it's cold.
Like New York, Chicago, they might have heard of those cities, and so you'll take the cold weather, but sorry, boys.
Sorry. So
last year,
what do we say about this? We rotated the shit out of Matagua, and I think played a lot of kids. We ended up drawing 1-1. Right, but not really going for the win. I think we were. What were we up? We were up 5-0 on Matagua. So
similar situation.
Same situation. Yeah.
I do think it'll be a lot of kids. I think we see a good number of short-term loans, like 2 or 3 short-term loans again, like a lot of rotation. I think Evan might play. They did last year during this leg. That's why I say that. I
do wonder, though, like with Evan last year, it was kind of like, oh, we should play Evan if he doesn't get to play that often. Like, now you almost like are worried.
You don't want him to get hurt. Yeah.
You don't want him to get hurt. Yeah. No, it's like now he becomes almost as important as Roman to stay healthy for this entire year.
Yeah. And last year you would have had Can as your third choice, who you absolutely would have trusted. I don't know what the early report is on the loanee from Liverpool. I'm not even sure if he's here. Like I don't have any update on that. I have no reason to doubt it. I just don't know.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Evan plays this game. I would assume that you'll get Flores on the back line.
Yeah, Flores, Kyle Smith, Alvis Powell all playing, Obi and Anunga playing. I do think Dotto starts just to help get reps, and then you probably put Denke and Barlow up top again just to rotate that. Maybe it's Jabari and Barlow. Yeah, maybe it's the other Shirilla and Barlow. I don't know.
I would say probably the other Shirilla and Barlow. I would, I would assume that your bench would probably include most of the starters.
Yeah.
Just because you would want to give them what would be, because we've talked about this before, the 20 minutes is what Pat would consider to be their normal work rate, is like whatever in his head, the math translates out to 20 minutes of game time is what your practice intensity would be like. So, it wouldn't surprise me to see Jabari get a 20-minute run. Maybe not Denke, just because it's probably not a game you want to risk him in. But maybe Ramirez gets a 20-minute run, maybe Ender gets a 20-minute run, and you use that. To me, the only interesting question is that if what Noonan said about the number of consecutive good practice days is to be believed, is there a possibility that Matt Miazga makes the lineup for this in terms of available for selection?
It would be nice. And to be clear, I have been a sort of Miazga doomer on my various appearances where I'm not expecting a lot of Matt Miazga this year. That is different than me not wanting a lot of Matt Miazga this year. I am hoping and rooting for that. I will mention, however, in the Discord, somebody mentioned before the game, they ran into Matt Miazga. So this is all, my uncle, works at Nintendo. All of that. But Miazga said he was a couple of weeks away. I don't know what we're away from. I don't know if a couple means 2 or 4 or something like that, but I'll throw that out there as well. I would like to see Miazga on the bench at a minimum. I think that would be a really good sign.
Yeah. But I mean, you're also in the position too, where it's like, if he has been out this long, the last thing you want to do is rush him back.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would just like to get some clarity as to are we going to see him this year? And
what is wrong? Is it still that injury from San Jose? Was there something else that happened? There was a knee drained at the beginning of preseason. Is it that? Is it the ankle? Is it the knee? I honestly have no idea. And maybe this is just me not being a good podcast host, not tracking this, but I've lost the plot on what the injury is and what we're waiting for. So
right. Yeah. We shall see. It would be nice to see it. Maybe not. But if I see him in the lineup just as available for selection, that will be rad.
That'll be awesome.
I don't know. I don't give a shit about this game. I think that something would have to go so horribly wrong for them not to advance that I don't even give a shit if they lose this game. If they lose this game 1-0 or 2-1, I don't care. Just stay healthy, get your reps in, and I'll bitch that I had to buy this ticket, my season ticket package afterwards.
That is true. Yes. Even if you opted out, you do have a ticket to this game. Probably worth throwing it out there for the season ticket holders, fellow season ticket holders. Chief, let's predict it, though. I'm going to say 2-1 FC Cincinnati. I don't think we try that hard.
I think 3-0, and I don't think we try that hard.
Okay, good.
They're not going to, this team sucks. That team was fucking awful. Mm-hmm. That may be the worst team I've seen play FC Cincinnati since they moved to MLS. And that's saying something because Motagua was awful too.
At least we forget our dear friends at Cavalier as well.
Even Cavalier, I think, was a little better than this team.
Yeah, I think what's funny about O&M is they're not even that good in their domestic league. They went on a generational upset run to get into this tournament. So.
Which good on them. Cool. Yeah. But it's not competitive. No. This is just, it's a joke. but
Yep.
happy for them.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully
with that,
hopefully they get to keep their frequent flyer miles for coming up here.
Yeah. I'm getting a text message here from my wife that I failed to put all of the groceries away when I went grocery shopping before recording. And that means there's a decent amount of food that might have just gotten spoiled. So I have to run. So get us out of here.
Fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, and say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.